Okay, so today, me and Catalope are going to be reading Yallery Brown. Could you not while we're reading? Are you ready?
No.
Okay, let's go. Help! Let me out, you bog-brained barbarian, or I'll unleash the fires of hell upon you! Tom Tyver was walking home from work when he heard gruesome shrieks coming gruesome shrieks coming from under the ground. Searching around urgently, he located them to an enormous flat boulder, half buried in the long grass. Come on, you toad-faced lump of scum! Set me free! Tom squatted down, got his fingers under one edge, and heaved the boulder up. At once, out scuttled a grotesque goblin. He was no bigger than a baby, but his grimy, earth-brown face was wrinkled like an old man's, fringed by a tangled mess of tawny hair and beard. So, you finally managed to shift yourself, eh? The goblin grumbled. He combed through his tangles with knotted, crooked fingers, snorting and gobbing, whatever gobbing is. Of course, you only did it because you knew I'd be honor-bound to give you a fine reward. So, what's it to be? A gorgeous wife or a crock of gold? Tom's eyes almost popped out of his head. But he was a well-brought-up lad, not a bit greedy, and he'd had it drummed into him that the best thing a man could aspire to was the ability to do an honest day's work. So he answered politely.
Neither. Thank you kindly, sir. I'm not looking for anything in return. I'm just glad I could help.
Sanctimonious little prig, the goblin mocked him. Nobody does something for nothing. You'd better say what you want and quickly, or you'll be sorry.
Well,
Tom said nervously.
I tell you what I'd really like, and that's some help with my farm work. Then maybe I could knock off a bit early sometimes and have some free time to myself.
You're joking, the goblin squawked incredulously. Tom shook his head.
I'm not.
All right then, young'un.
Hold up.
All right then, young'un. If that's all you want, it's yours, said the goblin. But you must have heard the code. Don't dare to ever thank me, or I'll never lift a finger for you again. And listen, as you've not asked for much, I'll be on call for you. If you ever need me, just give me a shout. Come here, Burpee.
But I don't know your name,
said Tom. Of course you don't, but I'm telling you now. I'm Yallery Brown.
the dead monkey.
The dead monkey. When you need me, put your mouth on the mud and yell like this. Yallery Brown, come out of the mools and help! Then I'll come running fast as I can to your side. Yallery Brown picked a dandelion clock and blew its seeds in a great cloud around Tom's head. Are you doing the sound effects? By the time it had cleared, the goblin had gone. All right, sound effects over. Thank you. Tom thought that maybe he'd dreamed him, so he hurried home, had his tea, and went to bed. And in the morning, he got up as usual and went to work. However, a big surprise awaited him when he got there, for his usual jobs of mucking out and hosing down the byres and pigsties were already finished. The older farm laborers all looked at him quizzically, but said nothing. They supposed he was playing a youthful prank, that he'd got up in the night to do it, and that he was trying to fool them with feigned surprise. But the same thing happened the next day, and the next. The farmer was so pleased with Tom that he doubled his wages, for the work was not only completed ahead of time, but done to an extraordinarily high standard. "Keep at it, and you'll go a long way in life, young lad," he said, slapping Tom heartily on the back. And Tom glowed with pleasure. Not only did he have more cash in his pocket than ever before, but he had more leisure time than he'd ever imagined possible for a working man. The goblin had done him proud. But good times never last. One night, after Yallery Brown had completed Tom's tasks to perfection, he ruined all Tom's workmates' labors from the previous day. He messed up their beautifully plowed fields, filled in their newly dug ditches, and snapped the tools they had carefully mended. Not surprisingly, the other men's respect for Tom quickly evaporated and turned to resentment. "That massive pay rise not good enough for you, urchin?" they hissed. "Trying to get rid of the rest of us now, are you?" At first, they just grumbled and badgered him. But when the same thing happened day after day, "Could you please stop?" They went to the farmer in a delegation and told him what was going on. "It's not natural," they complained. "He must be in league with the devil. Either he goes, farmer, or we do." Well, the farmer thought about it and realized that what the men were saying made sense. So he called Tom in and ordered him to explain himself. When Tom started yabbering on about goblins and rewards, the farmer, shuddering at the thought of supernatural influence on his land, sacked Tom on the spot. That's British for fired. No more job.
Oh.
Oh.
Wop wop for him.
That is pretty wop-wop for him. At first, Tom was devastated, but then he remembered the goblin's promise to come if he ever was needed. And honest Tom certainly was in need now that he had lost his job. So he went back to the flat stone where his adventure began all those months ago, put his mouth to it, and whispered,
Yallery Brown, come out of the moles and help.
At once the goblin was standing before him. "What's the matter?" he snorted. "Not satisfied after all, eh? Well, don't say I didn't offer you hanky-panky or riches, but you're such a goody two-shoes you had to choose something all sensible and self-righteous instead. You blathering fool! Didn't you realize it would do you no good?" Tom drew himself up tall and looked down on the goblin, determined to show that he was the superior one.
You better help me out of this mess you've made,
he said.
If you can't just get out of my life forever, thank you very much. Go away. Leave me alone.
At once, Yallery Brown gave a whoop of laughter. "You've done it!" he cried. "You've said it! Thank you very much. Those were your very words. I warned you not to thank me, didn't I? But you couldn't even remember a simple thing like that. Thank you very much, indeed. You'll get no more help from me, Tom Tiver. No, in future, I'll hinder you instead."
What?
cried Tom.
I never.
But the goblin put his oversized hands over his grotesque pointed ears and began to chant in a loud, tuneless voice. "Work as you will, you'll never do well. Work as you wish, you'll never get rich. Fools who heed the call from under the ground get harm and mischance with Yallery Brown." Sad to say, this time too, that malevolent creature's promise came true. For henceforth, everything went wrong for Tom Tiver. He never held down another job, so no girl was ever willing to marry him. Everything he aspired to or tried his hand at seemed to go wrong, for Yallery Brown plagued him for the rest of his days. So, what do you think? What do you think the moral for that was? Come here.
Don't say thank you to fairies.
I mean, that's kind of true, but I mean, I think there's more of an overarching story, like theme, don't you think? You said it the first time I read the story to you. It was actually quite cute.
What was it?
You said, "Don't be an idiot."
Yeah, don't be an idiot. That's actually one other thing.
You don't gotta yell, homie.
I'm over here.
So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think Yallery Brown's problem was? Why was he messing with Tom?
Because he hates his life.
He hates his own life?
No, he hates Tom's life.
So why would he mess with Tom's life further if he already hates Tom's life?
Probably trying to destroy it, make it worthless.
Even worse? So what's Yallery Brown's life like?
Horrible.
So he's not happy either, huh? Does he just hate humans, or is he a force of nature?
Force of nature.
You made the mic peak. All right. All right, get off me now. We're done. Get off. Off. All right. I swear that boy's a force of nature. Thank you for joining us for Yallery Brown, a fun little English fairy tale.